Alright folks, how are we doing? It's Shabash and welcome back to the channel. It's Orna again. Today we're doing another endgame showcase, this time with the Beowulf class, and we're doing a pure pet build today. We're not doing any non-tamer shenanigans. So let's get right into some world farming just quickly. We'll show you our gear. We've got the Venin, we've got Arisen Monster Tombs as well for maximum experience gain. Obviously you can use an Arisen Witch's Staff as well. You can even dual wield a Venin or Arisen Witch's Staff, or one combination of the two of them. You actually get an extra 5% from the Jewels of Growth compared to if you were just using a shield. But I've got the shield, I've got All Nothing Crown and some Abyssal Greaves just for a little bit of extra defense. We've just popped the Chaos Scroll, and then we're going with Court Jester's outfit for some extra orange. Alright, let's just fire into some world farming then. Against the normal tier 9 enemies, of course, it's going to be fairly simple as long as our pet actually does something. When he doesn't, it is a little bit annoying, but we were just getting down to low health anyway for our Valhallan Dissonance, so not to worry. I tend to use two kind of main strategies depending on what enemy we're going up against. I'll either use a defensive skill like Ward of Ortonite just to increase our health pool and make sure we don't die in one shot to whatever mob we're trying to kill, or if I'm going for the kill out straight out the bat, I will use something like Gate of Snotra or Mimic's Mischief just to get maximum power turn 1, and then at that point we are praying that our Crimson Gazer actually engages in our enemy. And here is a Berserk Chimera I failed to kill earlier, but you can see with the double magic up straight off the bat we're doing around 45k damage, which is pretty good. Gonna take down most non-Berserk enemies except the Arisen Hydra boss, not the Arisen Hydra mob, sorry. And just gonna get up to around 1k health. I like to sit about 1k health. That gives us a big buffer for when we use Ward of Ortonite, and then we can for sure last turn 1 against pretty much anything we're going to see in the game. Arisen Gazer. So these new tier 10 enemies, the Arisen mobs, have a lot more health than the enemies I was killing when I was farming with Beowulf Tamer back at the beginning of tier 10. But you can see the other thing I like to do is use Stun Dart or Sleep Dart. That puts our enemy, incapacitates our enemy for the one turn, and it also means that our Crimson Gazer can't miss. So we almost took that Fallen Arcanic down in one hit. If we're on 1 health, we can actually probably take them down as long as we use Gate of Snotra or Mimic's Mischief turn 1. So let's actually try and do that. I'll get Double Edge and get down to 1 health, 1 HP roughly. Okay, here's a Chimera, so here's a normal enemy. Let's hope that our Crimson Gazer does something this turn. There we go. So we can easily one-shot Berserk Chimeras at this point. And yeah, so I think Beowulf Tamer is actually really solid at killing bosses, more so than Realm Swash is, because we don't actually need to chill at 1 health to kill things. There we go. Berserk Pegasus down in 1 hit. As long as we use Snotra first up, that gives us maximum power for our Crimson Gazer. Let's also try and take down this Ortonite Golem. 53k, pretty solid hit. So I tend to sit around 1k health with Beowulf Tamer, Crimson Gazer, especially when out traveling, out in the wild, going down highways and stuff. Gives you a little bit of a buffer to use Ward of Ortonite first up against the tier 10 bosses that have a lot of health, and then you can buff up your magic turn 2 or heal a little bit if you need to. It's really solid for that, and obviously you don't even need an ornate Venin or Arisen Witch's Staff to get maximum experience gain out of it. Alright, let's move on to some hard mode boss gauntlets. Checking out the gear, roughly similar except we're going full defensive with some, we've got the Realm Garb in as well, and Realm Boots just for maximum ward. We're going to hide behind for our pet, and as much mana as possible. If we don't have enough mana, we can drop one of the tombs or Band of Gods or something like that. And we're using Nidhogg here. Can use Chimera as well, pretty solid to go through. If you like a bit of thrill and excitement, you can of course go in with Crimson Gazer, no issues. Definitely recommend Wisp's Heal for that. Crimson Gazer can do it no bother. So we've got 1400 mana at level 250. That should be plenty. Golem's Fortitude, we're going to buff up really defensively, play it as safe as we can with our Nidhogg pet. We're kind of missing Barrier 2 actually. I've got Gate of Snotra in, I would actually remove Gate of Snotra and put in Barrier 2 there if we're going with Nidhogg again, because the gates, the offensive gates, don't really play too nicely with hybrid play, unfortunately. So we're missing out on damage. We're also missing out, of course, on the Berserk buff from Chimera, which is why that's what makes Chimera a really solid choice here. And what we're going to do is build up a little bit of ward. We're going to go full ward here, but of course a lot of Nidhogg's attacks actually give us ward turns back. Just got to watch for frozen. We don't have any status affliction immunity on us, so just got to watch our ward turns, watch our mana as well. But we've got recharge and we're taking out Guts, which is a 3 mana spell, so we shouldn't have too many difficulties there to regain our mana. And yeah, from this point we've got a couple of Berserk mobs, which is a bit interesting. So we don't have full absorption yet for our ward, and let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we can get it. But Nidhogg is super active pet. You're gonna not have many turns without it doing anything, which is unlike Crimson Gazer. It's just way more active, which is super nice for going through gauntlets and dungeons. And hopefully we can get some full ward absorption, but we're struggling a little bit. So what I might do is just use another few Ward of Ortonites just to regain some ward. And we could actually, yeah, against Kelpie is the only thing I think which is resistant to Dragon, as well as Arisen Madman actually, at these higher tiers. I'm not sure if I actually got it off there, did I? Yeah, I think I did. Anyway, let's get our mana up again. So you can see we're nowhere near 50% health as Beowulf, so our Valhalla Dissonance is nowhere near proccing. So what I like to do is use Realm Shift, learnt from the Realm Shifter class. Obviously it's a really solid spell for Beowulf in a lot of scenarios. In Gauntlets it's solid, in raiding it's particularly good. Also got Deific Channel as well. Deific Channel lasts for any decent amount of time during the dungeon. We're just going to fly through. Missing out from the Berserk buff from Chimera is one thing that's going to slow us down a lot. It's 50% damage and one of the offensive gates as well. If you're using something like Crimson Gazer or Chimera, you can obviously use the offensive gate related to magic or attack, and if you take Chimera with a Berserk buff on top of that, that's 2 extra 50% damage multipliers that we're missing out on with Nidhogg. But the benefits of Nidhogg, it's super safe, it's cheap, it keeps ward turns up for you, you don't need to worry about it too much, and we're just gonna go through as easy as we like, really. We've got Double Edge as well that we can use to get down into Valhalla Dissonance range below 50% power, below 50% HP, sorry, to get our power up into our pet. Let's see if we can actually do that towards the back end of this dungeon. Should be useful for these higher health tier 10 boss enemies. And then we're going to use, I guess Transference would actually be pretty nice here as well, but let's regenerate some ward using Divine Bastion 2. That's the problem, we don't really get the chance to do it because we okay, this is kind of an issue. Let's see if we can get through it. Should have used Divine Bastion now that Nidhogg is missing all the time. Hades, Conjuring, Magic, okay. Let's just see what happens here. Okay. Actually 7k health, we can take the hit no problem. Ideally that's why you want to be at maximum ward for those one-off Berserk bosses that do pop up from time to time in the hard mode boss dungeons. But you can see when you're using a skill like Guts, which has a 50% chance to crit or not, and it only costs 3 mana, we're never gonna run out of mana here as Beowulf. So I like to keep mana topped up anyway. You can see we could, again, because it's hard mode, because we're not allowed to use potions, I'd rather just play it safe and stay up at high health, high mana, and just let our pet do the work. We can use Deific Channel pretty safely. You can see we've got 66 ward turns here, so we're pretty solid there. If we're doing normal boss dungeons or normal dungeons, it's much easier to manage our mana, and we can just go into maximum Valhalla Dissonance power, You know, I like to sit around 1k HP, similar to what I'm doing for the world farm. Get behind Divine Bastion, and then you can use mana potions easily, and you can use cure-alls to remove blight, any dot, anything like that. And Wisp's heal as well is a really solid skill for Beowulf as well. But you know, it's a bit slower using Nidhogg. It's a safe bet. Use Chimera, use Crimson Gazer if you want more of a challenge to go a bit faster. But yeah, Nidhogg does the job absolutely fine. Alright, let's show you some Morrigan raiding then at tier 10. We've got Fjalar pet with us. So we're going full ward basically. We've got Old Northern Crown, that's super important. We don't want our attack getting down for the one time that she'll use Omni Strikes on us. I've just got Realm Guard and Abyssal Greaves, so basically you want to go in with your highest ward gear, whatever that is. Obviously you can use Arisen Searcher's Cuirass if you have it. Then I've got Arisen Shield, stop us getting cursed. And I've got an Abyssal Axe as well for maximum ward. You can use a Demi Halberd. Basically any weapon that gives us ward, and I've put Assassin's Jewels in there to proc defense down on Morrigan. And then we've got Ring of Anwin and Briny Pendant just to stop us losing turns to freeze, paralysis and blight. So with Fjalar, similar thing. We're gonna ward up first up, and I like to not normally use Divine Bastion straight away. Sorry about that, that's a misclick. But I'll use Golem's Fortitude first up, and then I would like to go preferably into getting my elemental resistances up as soon as possible. I'm using the individual elemental resist skills because I've got an earth resist on my Old Northern Crown. Otherwise you can just use Ward of Balor or Ward of Anwin depending at what you've unlocked class wise. So obviously Beowulf is immune to dragon damage, so that's one thing we don't have to worry about. And then you just got to watch our ward turns and get our buffs up. Depending on if Mimic's Mischief takes our resistance and defense down, you might want to use Panacea here, but because my kingdom, the raid limit isn't that high, it's only 13% at the moment, I'm just gonna roll with double resist down. It should be absolutely fine. And you can build up ward turns and then use double edge to get into maximum Valhallan dissonance power as soon as possible. Let's get Fjalar up and running as soon as possible. And in a similar way to Realm Shifter's Resurgence, if your health pool doesn't end in a 0, you should be able to use double edge 10 times from maximum health, and that should put you to almost within double digits health wise, and then you can kind of manage it from there. I'm a little bit off at the moment, but it is what it is. And then yeah, from here, depending on our mana, depending on our ward turns, you can build up ward turns. Let's use Deific Channel as well. We're going to switch between Deific Channel, Swordplay, Realm Shift. Those are our main buffing skills. Probably once you get something like a Fey Niemann Havoc that also has ward on it, you can concentrate a little bit more on doing more damage as Beowulf yourself. You know, for this showcase I'm just using basically maximum ward, and you can see we're super safe. We're not taking that much damage at all. Plenty of ward left to use plenty of buff skills. So we're at 1 million damage already. So we just took quite a large hit. Let's yeah, I think actually Transference is probably a good shout here as well, just to, well, if you're using a gunner or an attacking weapon, but just to get some ward back. Then we're going to go into Divine Bastion 2 to regenerate the rest of our ward. So Fjalar, decent little pet, does decent consistent damage. Not quite sure how deep it's going to go because it's got those multi-hitting skills compared to something like Anubis, which is a really solid Beowulf raiding pet. The skills are really good. You can use Snotra, so you take less damage from most of Morrigan's skills. And then you'd probably want to take Forbid out yourself, so cast it on the Morrigan, because yeah, Anubis likes to spam that. Fjalar is kind of safe and slow, similar to Nidhogg, actually. Yeah, you can obviously raid with Crimson Gazer if you want. It's pretty decent on Apollyon and do some good damage. Actually, what I should do is I think I can actually use double edge again, right? Yeah, should have done that. Okay, we've got 2 health. We've got 2 health now. So now the real damage is going to start with our little birdie coming up to the end of the fight. You know, so it's actually doing 100k hits without Deific Channel up, which is super nice. From the main hit, and then she's got another evasive crit shite. Okay, so that's the end of the raid. No, we're still going. Yeah, so with Deific Channel up, Fjalar doing over 100 to 200k damage, not too bad. You can even use Chimera for more actively managed raid fight. Of course, you're gonna have to manage the dot, but yeah, Fjalar, 3 million damage is a bit slower than the other classes, but gets the job done. Okay, so let's end up with some arena fights with Beowulf Tamer. We're taking out the Chimera pet. I'll talk more about pets in just a second. Checking out the gear, we're going with a mix of ward for defensive capabilities. We've got a Yeti coat this time. I've got Immortal Jewels in there. That increases our health a little bit, which is quite nice as we have really low health as a base with Beowulf. The Abyssal Greaves also give health, so I've got Immortal Jewels in there as well. And then we're rocking 2 Freya's Charms as well. That's going to increase our action rate by, what, 8%? Is it 8 or 10%? And boost our pet's power by 20%. So that's not too bad. So let's just see what we can do. Normally I'm going to start off going up against my Kingdom Mate Rhaegar with Mimic's Mischief, and then depending on what we're facing, let's go with a Stun Dart. It's a Realm Shifter. That's going to make sure we don't miss, and that's not a bad start. Gilgamesh, going up against Realm Shifters normally is going to be the most attacking enemy we're going to face in the arena, and we don't tend to need that many attack buffs because Chimera has pretty high attack. Normally we'll go with Ward of War tonight. Problem here is pet action rate. It can go quite a few turns without doing anything, but when Chimera gets his arse in gear, it actually does quite a lot of damage. There you go, 64k hit, not too bad. Getting helped a lot by the Freya Charms, that's super nice. The other bad thing with Chimera is when we're coming up against heretics and deities, they're going to be regularly immune or resistant to our dragon damage from the Chimera pet. But you can see, I think the Freya Charms really help. I did a wee run earlier without the Freya Charms, and yeah, Chimera was was quite lazy in comparison to this. So I definitely recommend Chimera. On the pet front, actually, Chimera I think is probably the best normal game pet, the core game pet. But for Beowulf Tamer, there's definitely better pets out there in the form of event pets that are only available throughout certain months of the year. And I think I'll probably do a separate video specifying which pets are good or not. But basically, yeah, I think in general there's quite a few event pets which are much better for Beowulf Tamer than the pets you can get in the core game. I'm missing Miasma, that's the one thing I was missing. But yeah, something like Fake Chimera is super good for deity, and the Mightiest Mimic as well is really superb actually for Beowulf. So we'll do another video talking about event pets specifically for Beowulf. But in the core game, Chimera is it's going to be super good if you're going up against tankier enemies as well. With the it's got a really high base attack, and it has some good penetrating skills. It's got Omni Strike 3, I think, and that is what you want going up against high defense enemies. I've got Spike Shield with us here because I'm rocking a little bit of ward. This is by no means going to be very useful, but it can do a little bit of damage, and it's something around here where when they have high ward and they use Divine Bastion, that skill like Miasma is actually very useful for Beowulf, just to take down those last chance enemies. A lot of the times Chimera is going to buff up with Berserk and then might not do anything next turn. This is a big problem when you get Realm Shifters with ward into Resurgence range. Let's just take down one more enemy. Another Realm Shifter. Realm Shifters everywhere. You don't see Beowulfs when you're playing as Beowulf, but you can see the damage is not too bad with a couple of buffs up. You would like to kill this guy here. Let's just use Spike Shield. I'm taking down a little bit of damage. 60k ward. One more fight. Let's see what we can get. Another Realm Shifter. I think we've fought quite a lot of them. But yeah, for running through the arena, there you go. Blight Strike 3, 26k hit turn 1, which is that's pretty fucking solid. Freya's Charm's really good for running through the arena. So while we're here, I may as well do my war fight. We're going to take out Fake Chimera, and let's see how we get on. Same gear, I'm not changing anything. We're going up against Meow Mike, a Realm Shifter. Don't know if he's Swash or Cataphract. Let's have a look. So he's not Cataphract, very likely going to be Swash. So because we've got low health, 18k, I don't know what this guy's attack is. So the risk here is, do we use Ward or Ward Smite first up? It's quite likely that our pet is going to use Berserk. Didn't. Okay. Didn't do a lot of damage there, he attacked, so that's not really worried about that. We're going to use Gunner, and then our Chimera, Fake Chimera is actually attacking a lot, so we're going to stun him. Might be immune to stun there, but use Stun Dart, use Sleep Dart, use Freeze if you have the skill as well, that's really good. Fake Chimera, it's more made for Beowulf rather than normal Chimera, in the fact that it has those multi-hitting skills, do a lot more damage than the higher penetrating Blight Strike 3 and Omni Strike, but Meow Mike got taken down pretty easily in that war fight. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see a standalone video going into details with the event pets. There's quite a few that's been released now that are a little bit different, a little bit better in a lot of cases for Beowulf Tamer, so let me know if you'd like to see that. Also, if you like this video, please give a like, please subscribe, really helps me out, keeps the motivation high. I hope you've learned something and you'd like to see some more Beowulf Tamer stuff in the future. Otherwise, I'm Shabash, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Ciao!